Welcome to part 2 of Fish Milanese, first place winner in MQE's Community Prompt Contest. Fish Milanese is a historical fiction short story featuring a game of hazard in a Rotterdam tavern during the year 1638. Prepare for a tale of pirates, tulips, and a distressing damsel in a daring dress. Bloopers will also be available after the credits. For more information about MQE, please stay until the end or look in the information box below.
While it was true that the port city of Rotterdam had some undesirable elements, as all large cities do, the place as a whole was quite beautiful. Colorful buildings lined its wide cobblestone streets as a myriad of people flocked about doing their daily business. Merchants arriving from foreign ports brought in exotic spices and goods from the Far East. Shipbuilders and longshoremen unloaded cargo from the massive Dutch flights at the docks and yelled up at the sky as seagulls shat on them, while finely dressed ladies and their dates strolled by the grand canals that ran through the city or had their pictures painted. Many held hands while some girls laughed coquettishly at the corny jokes of their lovers. James Fletcher breathed a happy sigh as he watched them pass, thinking of his own lover, Sofia. The former English poacher turned mercenary was on his way to pick her up from the salty seamen, and had made a quick detour to a local flower shop to find something to present to her.
These tulips are quite extravagant, and the shop seemed to be overflowing with them. You think I should get one for her? Or would that be too rude to give her such a common flower?
Senor Leche,
said his Spanish companion, butchering his last name.
The flower merchants of Rotterdam are selling tulips because tulips are worth more than gold here.
The Spaniard, Don Alfonso Villanueva y Santiago, was Sofia's mentor and fencing instructor. The Don was old enough to be Sofia's father and frequently acted as such, since there was a time 6 years ago when a young Sofia had changed his life and put him into the position that he was in now, as a captain of men in the service of Talbot Company.
Remind me again,
continued Don Alfonso.
Exactly how much do you earn as a common soldado in a month?
4 florins a week, Master Spaniard. But I'm sure that's still enough to buy a little flower such as this.
Oh, you clearly do not know this place.
Turning to a flower vendor, he picked up a random tulip and asked how much it was worth.
That one. Not a very famous cultivar, and it has already bloomed. I would say a mere 180 florins,
said the merchant. Fletcher choked at the high price.
By Christ's blood! That's worth more than a fat cow!
Yes, I imagine the bulb is much more expensive. Madame, do I assume correctly?
He said to the tulip merchant.
You do, sir. The going price is 450 florins for the bulb.
Fletcher's heart sank. He loved Sofia, and he always tried to please her. He would sometimes carve little figurines out of wood and bone for her. She'd always give him that warm, radiant smile and a kiss on the lips for his efforts, but he felt that he should buy her something for once.
Don't be discouraged, young senor. I'm sure your presence is more than enough for her,
Don Alfonso said, patting Fletcher on the back.
That may be true, although...
Fletcher stopped himself short. There was a crowd gathering around the Salty Seaman Tavern. Fletcher jogged over to see what was going on while Don Alfonso thanked the flower merchant for her time and followed him at a leisurely pace. The Englishman was not the tallest person, and he struggled to look over the heads and shoulders of the famously tall Dutchman, but he could hear someone's voice shouting over the crowd. It was a woman who spoke in an accent, melodious, even though she was shouting, and very familiar. It had to be Krista.
Ladies and gentlemen, the terms of the duel are as follows. Before the duel commences, all efforts must be made to reconcile the two parties.
A duel? What duel? And why was Krista acting as an arbiter? Fletcher found a steady-looking oak barrel and stood on it to get a better look. What he saw made his jaw drop. Sophia, radiant as always, in her favorite green dress, was standing across from an armed man with an arrogant grin on his face and a sword on his belt. He was clearly some sort of pirate. Sophia was yet unarmed, but several armed and armored men from her regiment were standing behind her, while some of the pirate's friends stood behind him. Krista stood in between them. Fletcher wanted to help, but he knew that Sophia was just as capable as he was with the sword, perhaps even more, and his intervention in a duel would be seen as dishonorable. The pirate, meanwhile, was already getting mean looks from the crowd for accepting a girl's challenge to duel in the first place. The two combatants walked towards each other in an attempt to reconcile. Fletcher could hear nothing over the crowd, but he did see that the pirate was leering at her in a way that made his blood boil. It didn't last long. Sophia delivered a sharp slap to his face before walking back to her corner. The pirate grimaced as he wiped the blood from his lip.
After all attempts have been made to reconcile, the challenged has no options but to accept. He may now dictate the weapons to be used in the duel.
The pirate nodded and stepped into the center of the dueling circle.
I do not believe that it is proper for a man to fight a woman.
Hypocrite!
Yelled someone in the crowd. He ignored this and continued.
So, I will fight handicapped. The lady here may use whatever weapon she is most comfortable with, be it sword, kitchen knife, or rolling pin.
There were chuckles amongst the crowd.
And I shall use but this simple dagger.
He drew the sword breaker from his sheath and showed it to the crowd, after which he withdrew to his corner to surrender his sword to his companion.
Senor Leche, what is going on? Master Spaniard, Sofia's about to fight a duel. I must go and speak to her. Agreed. She may be a better swordsman than you are now, but she may need someone in her corner.
Fletcher jumped off the barrel and ran into the crowd, elbowing past annoyed onlookers, while Don Alfonso shoved past everyone with his broad shoulders. Sophia turned to see what the commotion was in the crowd, and her face lit up when she saw Fletcher burst through the onlookers.
Mr. Fritcha, what do you do here?
Fletcher still loved the way she spoke English and kissed her full on the mouth.
That was for luck.
The Spaniard was next to come through the crowd, barreling aside spectators and even shoving one aside and onto the pavement for not moving.
E bello rivederti, Don Alfonso.
She said with a slight curtsy.
It is likewise good to see you, hija.
He replied in English so that Fletcher might understand.
We believed you might needed some support.
Ha! Va tutto bene. I win this? No problema.
And have you selected your weapon?
Sophia turned to one of her men standing behind her.
Spada, por favore.
The mercenary swordsman drew his weapon, a light sword with the hilt of a rapier and the blade of a broadsword, and presented it to Sophia.
An infantry sword. Not your type, but you can still put it to good use. Remember, the objective is not to get hit. Blocking is all well and good, but avoidance is your savior.
Must I wait all day for you, my lady?
Yelled the pirate in the distance.
Who's this idiot?
Said Fletcher.
A cheater.
Said Sophia as she tested the balance of the sword and looked down its blade.
A dead cheater.
Good luck, my darling.
Grazie, caro mio.
She said as she blew a kiss at him before walking towards the center of the duel circle where Krista was. Fletcher could have sworn Krista winked at him before she continued speaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, this duel will end upon the satisfaction of the challenger. You shall begin the duel on my command.
Looking closely, Fletcher saw that the pirate was grinning as if he knew he was going to win. There was clearly something he did not know. He glanced at the weapon he held in his hand.
Master Spaniard, what is that dagger he's holding?
Don Alfonso squinted his eyes to see better, for the duelists were far away, and gasped.
Oh no. Sophia! Don't let them parry you!
Sophia heard nothing. Krista clapped her hands twice and signaled the start of the duel. The Italian was quick on her feet and lunged into Torrenvalk, but managed to only rip a piece of his doublet. The captain, deceptively lithe for his size, rolled around and tried to stab at Sophia, but she leapt out of the way just in time. To counter his attack, she passed to his side and brought down her sword to strike him high, where he blocked it with his dagger. Sophia's blade was stuck in the dagger's teeth.
Sophia!
Yelled Don Alfonso.
Kick him away!
It was too late. With a twist, the pirate sent the sword flying out of her grip, landing several feet away.
Hold!
Screamed Fletcher.
Hold!
Repeated Krista. The two combatants froze.
Challenger, you have been disarmed.
Said Krista with a drip of concern in her tone.
Do you wish to continue?
Sophia's chest rose up and down as she breathed heavily. She reached down and tore off the large skirt portion of her dress, revealing her silk undergarments. The crowd gasped in shock. Don Alfonso gave a hearty chuckle of approval while Fletcher turned red.
Yes, I continue.
She said through bated breath.
Very well. And that is a very daring look for you, my dear. I salute you. Leon!
Without warning, the pirate thrust for Sophia's belly, but she was more agile now, and dodged the blow, grabbing the captain's arm. In one swift movement, she tossed the pirate over her shoulder, using his own weight against him. Captain Tornvalk now lay face down on the ground, and Sofia made sure he stayed that way by applying her knee to his neck.
If you move, I break your arm, and I am taking that dagger for my satisfaction.
Mercy, my good lady.
The pirate said, his words muffled by the cobblestone.
Money, my good sir.
Take all that you have won, all that I stole from you.
It takes a good man to admit that he is a thief. Penny.
Sophia took the dagger out of the pirate's hand and rose to her feet to the sound of the cheering crowd. Fletcher whistled from the sidelines while Don Alfonso nodded his approval.
If you did not know me before, Messere, know that I am Capitana Sofia Fortezza, commander of Swords, Talbot Company.
A mercenary.
A businesswoman. Thank you for listening to part 2 of Fish Milanese. Special thanks to our guest voice actors Daniel Paulus, Lily Martinez, and Anthony Mark. If you enjoy this creation, tap the like button. MQE stands for Muses, Quills, and Editors, a safe and supportive creative community. To further support Michael Regal and the rest of MQE, please subscribe and click the bell for future notifications. Details on joining or further questions can be found on our Discord link or our website, both noted in the info box below, where you may also find an Amazon link to Regal's debut novel, The Talbot Company. Thank you again, and have a marvelous day.
The best kind of mics are like the
Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's much better.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
As if you're not accustomed to the same, darling.
Prepare for a tale of pirates, tulips, and a distressing damsel in a daring dress. Fuck!
This is a sword breaker. It is meant to parry, disarm, and break cats.
The Zoete Zeeman, or the Salty Sailor Tavern, would be more accurately described as a bawdy house that just happened to have a good cook. Located in a bad part of Rotterdam near the port, the establishment was frequented by pirates, mercenaries, sailors, and the occasional merchant who had a little more money to spend on frivolous pursuits. Thank you for listening to part 1 of Fish Fuck.
So, I will fight handicapped. The lady here may use whatever weapon she is most comfortable with it. Everything.
Welcome to part 2 of Fish Milanese, first place winner in MQE's community prompt contest. Fish Milanese is a historical fucking
Welcome to part 1 of Fish Milanese, a tale which won first place in MQE Community's prompt contest. Fish Milanese is a historical fiction short story featuring a game of hazard in a Rotterdam tavern during the year 1638. It is a tale of pirates, meat cakes, and the distressing damsel in a daring dress. For more information about MQE, please stay until the end of the video or look in the information box below.
Thank you again, and have a marvelous day.